In Venezuela, the electoral ban came into force ahead of the July 28th elections, marking the closing of the presidential candidates' campaigns. In this context, authorities of the Ministry of Defense and Interior Relations, Justice and Peace established a series of mandatory measures for compliance with the electoral exercise. The actions to be held starting on Friday include a dry law and the prohibition of carrying weapons, as well as celebrating political acts and gatherings, all implemented with the purpose of protecting the citizens. For their part, the National Electoral Council began the process to install the polling stations in 30,000 voting centers set up throughout the national territory. The National Electoral Council of Venezuela held a formal installation ceremony at the International Press Center of the National and International Monitoring Plan for the 2024 presidential election. During the meeting, the president of the National Electoral Council, Elvis Amoroso, highlighted the importance of the international observers for the presidential elections of next July 28th. Likewise, Amoroso acknowledged the work of the international and national experts after accompanying the different audits of the electoral system in the phases prior to the event. The installation ceremony also included the participation of the former president of the Dominican Republic, Leonel Fernández, and the former president of Colombia, Ernesto Samper. In this context, Venezuelan authorities led a meeting with international accompaniers ahead of the 2024 presidential elections. More than 800 guests from more than 100 countries were present at the International Convention Center in La Carlota, Caracas. The meeting began with diverse cultural and musical activities, gastronomic samples, and Venezuelan economic events. In this sense, the first vice president of the Socialist Party United for Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, pointed out that the presence of the international accompaniers will guarantee the authentic account of the presidential elections.
In all the electoral processes prior to this one, the world has also been worried about what is going to happen in Venezuela. Some give their prophecy and almost always roll with that prophecy. They talk about violence, they talk about fraud, they talk about low participation. Each one makes their own story. The truth is that thanks to you who are here in the presence, you will have firsthand the authentic story of what is going to happen in Venezuela.
Spanish journalist Ignacio Ramonet explained that the national dialogue called by President Nicolás Maduro on July 29th is a constitutional project with the people to carry out the future economic agreements and make peace without exclusivity.
Now it can be confirmed, the president has information that we do not have, about what the opposition is preparing, whose violent coup trajectory we have known for many years. The second observation is what he has announced for the 29th, the day after what is supposed to be his victory, the victory of the president. He is calling for a great national dialogue without exclusives. It is also a way of saying that this has been a rhetorical battle. Obviously it is an electoral campaign, there have been rhetorical confrontations, there have been differences, but the next day there will be national unification, national pacification. And there is a project that is a national project, there will be no foreign interference, he said, it is a national project, among Venezuelans, we are going to agree on which economic project, which cultural project, which social project, all kinds of projects, which ones we are going to have, among ourselves. It is almost, I would say, almost a constitutional project, but in a different way, together with the people.
Analyst Franco Vielma, member of the Mission Verdad team, affirmed that the Venezuelan electoral system has been the main point of attack by the Western powers to make the world believe that the country's democracy is weak in electoral aspects.
If something has been unfairly attacked in Latin America, it is the Venezuelan electoral system. Sadly, the main attacks have come from the Venezuelan opposition. We know that because of their agenda to create tension and sometimes destabilization, they need to attack the Venezuelan electoral system in order not to recognize their political failures in the elections where they have participated. But besides that, we know that the process of delegitimizing the Venezuelan institutions is one of the transversal processes that the Latin American far right has. It is a way to destroy or try to destroy, at least narratively, the Venezuelan process, due to its political particularities. That is to say, Venezuela has a system of parties and open elections, a system of direct and secret universal election where the parties and organizations and political actors participate in an open competitive field. To speak of a country that has a revolution but also has some characteristics of an electoral system similar to those of the liberal world, well, that has to be the target of attack, that is to say, to declare that Venezuelan democracy